I'm in control of my emotions. I'm in control of my emotions. Ah! Hello, geeks, freaks, and all those unique. This is MC Frodis, and we're blasting off into the future to talk about episode 7 of season 3. Is it episode 7 yet? Episode 7. Episode 7 of season 3 of Star Trek Discovery, Unification III. Yeah, like I said last week, feelings. So many feelings. Why do I have so many feelings in episodes about Vulcans? So, in this episode, they've triangulated the source of, or they've almost triangulated the potential source of the burn, but triangulation doesn't really work very well in 3D space. So they need some more information, and it turns out that there is a planet, Navarre, that has some information that may be useful about the burn. But the problem is Navarre used to be Vulcan, and Vulcan is no longer in the Federation. But maybe if Spock's sister, Michael, goes to the planet and asks them nicely, we'll be able to get the information. And guys, oh my god, like, you know how I feel about Spock. You know how every single, I just knocked Neota over. That is not good. But every single version of Spock, I have so many feelings about Spock, guys, that, we knew that this had to happen at some point, that Spock would come up, because Spock is such an important character through all of Star Trek. But having Michael find out what happened to Spock after she left was just tears, just so many tears. And this is, of course, us finding out more about Spock. There are people who follow the teachings of Spock now. Spock is a Surak level, like, teacher on, well, now Navarre. But that is, oh my god, like, Spock is a person of, I mean, I guess he was always a person of legend, like, once we got into the Next Generation level. But this is just so many years later that he is now, and now even past legendary. Now he's a mythical figure, which I mean, of course it would happen to my Spock, but just Michael's conversation with Book, just about how, you know, what Spock thought of her, and Book thinking that he would get really along with Spock. And I mean, like, the thing that just set me off was when Michael heard the words Ambassador Spock for the first time. Just the absolute joy that came across her face. Sonequa Martin Green just played it perfectly. It was joy, it was shock, it was amazement. It was so beautiful. Everything just played on her. She did not say a word. It was just all on her face, and it was perfect. It was exactly what we needed. And this totally makes sense. It's very logical that Vulcan there should be issues with Vulcan or Navarre. It's gonna take a long time to get used to. I mean, like, this week I have had to start calling Vulcan Navarre now, and I also have to start calling Baby Yoda Grogu. I mean, there's just lots of things that I'm gonna have to get used to. I'm sorry, words are kind of escaping me just because I was so affected by everything. But Michael not wanting to have, look up what happened to Spock because she was worried about what she would find there, or maybe she thought she was going to be sad. But then finding out just everything that he accomplished, and just how proud she was of him, and getting to see that scene from Unification II, from Picard's logs, which, first of all, very nice to have a reference to Picard. And being able to see Leonard Nimoy again in one of his final performances as Spock. I mean, I know that he did appear later on in Star Trek, but there really wasn't anything that they could have pulled from that to use, because, of course, most of that took place in another timeline. But the scene that they picked was perfect. And the line about Spock and Michael being overachievers, I mean, it's completely right. Probably the biggest issue I have in all of this was that Michael's mother ended up being the, I'm sorry, I can't remember the name of the sect. It is the group of people from Picard, which I love that they brought them in, because, tying everything together. This episode definitely does show to me that there is a deep reverence for the continuity of Star Trek. I mean, they might choose to ignore it at times when it suits them, but they do care about it, and they will bring it in. But having Michael's mother be associated with them did feel like a contrivance to me. I mean, it's one that, I can accept, but it's like, yeah, I see you guys there. I have to admit, when they first said that it was somebody from the sect that came in, I thought it was going to end up being a descendant of Spock's. But I guess that might have been going a little too far. Like, I know that in the novel verse, Spock married Saavik, and there was kind of a mention of Spock possibly getting married in the episode Sarek of TNG, or at least a son of Sarek's got married. But they never really elaborated on whether or not that was Spock. Because, I mean, certainly people in that family, don't really talk about their relatives. So maybe Sarek had another kid after Spock. But kind of in canon, they've never really talked about Spock being married outside of the whole T'Pring thing. So, yeah, it would have brought in a whole nother issue if they had basically established that, yes, Spock not only got married, but had kids. But I thought that was where they were going to go. But no, it turned out that it was Michael's mother. And I'm like, okay, this feels like a contrivance to me. But then also, Spock's kid probably would have been a contrivance too. This episode was so good. Like, this is, I'd say, I don't know if this is my favorite or if this is my second favorite episode of the season. The episode with the Trill, which I can't, Forget Me Not. Either Forget Me Not or this one is my favorite episode of the season. I just don't know which. But I'm kind of okay with not knowing which, because they're both such different episodes that I think that they can both coexist and kind of like my favorite, not only of the season, but possibly of the series, and fairly high up there in terms of Star Trek. This is an amazing episode of Star Trek, and just so reverent to everything that came before it. Because I did feel such love for Spock as a character, and reflectively, such a love for Leonard Nimoy. Like, obviously, Leonard Nimoy is not Michael Spock, except, yes. But just because it was kind of this mythical version of Spock, you do think Leonard Nimoy. So the fact that there was such a respect given to him, it did feel like they were paying tribute to Leonard Nimoy in a way, and I'm always here for that. Um, but that we got to see that everything that Spock tried to do worked out. I mean, we know that he was unable to save Romulus, obviously, which is sad. And I did think it was weird that they did not mention that Romulus was destroyed, because, I mean, that might be something that would, change things. Like, I mean, obviously that's why that actually probably helped the unification happen. The fact that Romulus wasn't there anymore. But yeah, we do find out that kind of things end up okay from where they were in Picard. That the Romulans have now been accepted back on to what was formerly Vulcan and is now Navarre. And yes, there is kind of always going to be this ill ease between them, but they have managed to find a balance. And that's just beautiful that what Spock tried to do for so many years actually did work out. And he's remembered with such fondness, not even fond, reverence. Just, I mean, like, Kirk could never. I'm sorry. It's like, I'm sure in Starfleet, like, they think Kirk is pretty cool. But in Starfleet, they also think Spock is pretty cool. And on Vulcan, they basically treat him like one of, like, a mythical figure. And just, I love Spock, so I love that happened for him. But not only that, but we do get kind of this unification of kind of Navarre with the Federation. I mean, it's only just kind of starting, but it's going to get there. Comment below if you also thought that there was kind of a shippy thing going on with the president of Navarre and Saru. I felt like there was some connection there, and I felt it hard, and I'm like, oh god, I think I shipped this. I'm totally okay with that. I like that. But the most important unification of this episode was Michael, and this has been a complaint that I've been having for this season, that Michael has been so lost, and it was just kind of irksome to me. I wanted Michael to kind of get back to being Michael, and I get that she's gone through a lot, but I wanted to see Michael kind of get back into things, because we don't have that many episodes left of the season, and something needed to change, because we can't just have Michael spinning our wheels and not really understanding where she is. And I feel like having Spock be involved in all of this makes sense, because I think, first of all, Michael was completely preparing to come to the future with Spock. She was not prepared to say goodbye to him after having, found him again. So that was, I think, a huge emotional blow. So I think finding out that he was okay, and the effect that he had, really kind of helped kickstart things for her. And just the fact that she's been kind of dedicating herself to finding out the cause of the burn, and now that she has this information, now she feels she has a purpose again, because she had been so focused on this. I'm sorry, I still have a bit of a problem with the Michael book relationship, and I feel like I'm the only one who does. So, I mean, you can just write it off as me being somebody who really liked Ash a lot, but it just feels to me like they're really pushing the whole Michael and Book are in love, and it's a forever type of destiny, love, whatever. It's super head over heels love. And I just feel like we haven't... I didn't get to see this happen. Like, it just kind of snap your fingers and there it is. And I know they had a year together, but I'm the viewer. I get to decide whether or not things are happening too fast for me. And this happened too fast for me because I didn't see it develop. But whatever, that's like a very small complaint, and I'm sure by the end of the season I'll be fine with it. Totally forgot to mention Tilly. Oh, I was so distracted by all things Spock, I forgot to mention Tilly. I am so happy with the development with Tilly becoming the XO of Discovery. I kind of saw this coming. Like, until Saru said that Michael was going to be XO, I thought that in episode 2, it's like, oh, is Tilly going to become first officer? No, that seems weird that Tilly should become first officer because she's an ensign. But no, this totally makes sense. I absolutely love this. I love this so much. Harry Kim is rolling over in his grave. Oh my God, this is great. It makes so much sense. Out of all of the characters on the ship, Tilly being the first officer totally works for me. It does make sense. The scene where everybody was telling her to say yes was great, and I love that Michael came in and was just, oh, did I miss the cool say yes thing? It's great. I love that. I think what they're doing with Tilly's character this season is so great. So, this episode was fabulous. I cried. I almost started crying a little bit while talking about it. And, I will, always there for a Spock-related episode, even if he's not actually in the episode. So, comment down below with what you thought of Unification Part 3. Like this video if you liked it. Subscribe to my channel if you really liked it. I do videos about Star Trek, Star Wars, Supernatural, and so many other geeky things. If you would like to support me, you can go to my Patreon, where you can get early access to videos as well as exclusive videos, and you can participate in polls during the Christmas season and during every other season, actually. You can go to my Redbubble and TeePublic to get some of my designs. I have a lot of fun, nerdy stuff. So, until next time, live long and may the Force be with you. Thanks to these patrons for keeping the lights on around here. I very much appreciate all of the help from you guys. So if you want to keep watching more of my videos, click on my cartoon face over there and you can go directly to my channel and check things out.